idea of the Innovation Campus in Saldanha Bay has been brewing in our minds for years, and our passion to bring it to life remains unwavering. Our dream is that the Saldanha Bay Innovation Campus is a meeting of hearts and of minds, and collectively creating a better future for the local energy and maritime sectors. Our hope is that it evokes a fresh sense of possibility and inspires us to push beyond our perceived boundaries into the art of the impossible. Hi, listeners. It is a pleasure today to broadcast another podcast for Innovate the Blue. Myself, Adinda Preller, representing the Saldanha Bay Industrial Development Zone and working as Program Director on the Saldanha Bay Innovation Campus. Today, we have the pleasure to have Kaashifah Beukes, our CEO of the Saldanha Bay IDZ, with us again for a special birthday edition of the Innovate the Blue podcast. Kaashifah, a quick introduction by yourself.
Thanks, Adinda. So the listeners will know me. I'm Kaashifah Beukes. I'm the CEO of the Saldanha Bay Industrial Development Zone. I'm happy to be here on the anniversary of our podcast journey.
And what a year it has been, Kaashifah. I'm still reminiscing to our first podcast. I think it was last year. It was around July. And we were just figuring out, how do we do this? And here we are at podcast number 5. And we've got so many more planned for the year. And as you mentioned, our anniversary, our birthday, it's been 1 year since we started driving the implementation of the Innovation Campus. Today is really to reflect on that journey, like what has been the milestones, what has been the highlights, what have we done? And I'm sure that is something that a lot of our listeners would like to learn. It has been such a remarkable journey, just reflecting. I think, especially considering that we're in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. And within the pandemic and everything that we brought, that as the Innovation Campus, that we've seen the opportunity, and it really has accelerated the adoption of our implementation program and working towards that vision that we have to achieve a vibrant energy and maritime cluster in Saldanha Bay and beyond. It's really been quite special. I think for me, that's what stands out. Like, we had so many people showing up, engaging, eager to participate, and asking what more can they do. That's been incredible. Kaashifah, if you think back on the Innovation Campus, like, what progress stands out for you in the past 12 months?
What stands out for me is the connections that we've made over the last 12 months. So we've created a network, a virtual network up to now of about 127 unique organizations that have engaged with the Innovation Campus program, and engagement and interaction is increasing every day. We've run and hosted 2 virtual webinars, and as you said, this will be our 5th podcast. But I think what stands really as a highlight for me, one of the highlights is that people do want to connect and do want to solve the industry's challenges to take this industry forward. They see value in it. They deeply understand that this has a transformative potential on South Africa and Africa. And so that's why I think we're getting the traction that we are. The commitment of people attending our webinars. On average, there's about 50 attendees, and they're really interested in what we're doing.
Absolutely, Kaashifah. And there's so much now that you've mentioned there to unpack. The first one that you mentioned about growing our network, growing our connections, and actually realizing there is such a big audience in the marine and energy cluster that is eager to learn about how can they innovate, how can they collaborate, how can we work as a collective. And it has been quite something. We started out with running the webinars, and from the webinars, we ran out podcasts. and subsequently so many rich engagements across all of the different stakeholders. I think the one number that jumped out to me was that over all of our engagements and this network, thus far, we've reached out to more than 127 unique organizations, from quite a few of them, which actually has been one-on-one interactions to understand more about what are their needs, what are their requirements in the energy and marine sector, and what value they would be derived from a cluster. So I absolutely echo what you share there around the growing our network and our connections.
I think the next step for us on our radar is to map that out visually, to give a picture of what this ecosystem, what the industry actually looks like. If you can recall, in our video that launched the Innovation Campus program that we put together last year, I mentioned that one of the challenges that we're going to have to take on is that there is a lack of awareness of the industry itself. I mean, how many of us have been on a boat or a vessel or a ferry in our lifetime? Very few of us. So we need to create visual tools. We need to use visual tools to raise awareness and show the potential of the networks that we're establishing. So I'm very excited, looking forward to the Innovation Campus website coming up and some of that mapping being presented there.
And Kaashifah, what you're mentioning there, it actually speaks to one of my highlights around discovering these pockets of excellence and knowledge, that there's actually quite a few regional networks, associations, and mini clusters in the marine and energy sector, but the different regions and associations are not necessarily connected. So by what you're mentioning, the visual tool and mapping it all out is giving everyone in the marine and energy cluster, in the oceans cluster, that realization that there's so many of us and we've got common goals and there's this opportunity to work together. Like we always say in the Innovation Campus, if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. So that certainly is, I think, one of our big wins, and really looking forward in the next few months to, as you say, launch the website and make available this visual tool and mapping that we're working on. There's another thought, and just rewinding to the highlights that you've shared, tying into that for me was also the realization that actually we need to dream bigger. Right now, we're establishing the Marine and Energy Cluster in Saldanha Bay, but to the greater South African landscape, there's potential really to unlock and connect Oceans Cluster in South Africa and really unlocking the oceans economy by using innovation and industrialization. And using that as a tool also to drive the transformation that you spoke about. No, it's actually just sitting here and thinking back. I'm just going like, wow. And then I think of the road ahead and I'm as excited. For yourself, what excites you about the next 12 months? You've mentioned the website, you've mentioned the collaboration and the visual tools that we'll release. What sparks joy for you on what lies ahead?
Yeah, so connected to the effort that we've been making to create and establish a network, I think working on our first affiliate partner, getting an affiliate partner on board is really exciting because it means that there's a concrete value proposition of the Innovation Campus to someone else. So it's not just the IDZs anymore. And so we're working with CPUT, who has so many excellent professional, experienced academic staff and institutions and resources there. It's really amazing to be able to partner with them going forward. So we're working on that. And then an exciting thing that's up and coming that's just also been launched and will take us through for the next 4 to 5 months of the year is our first Open Innovation Showcase. which is going to be focused on drone technology. And this came up through stakeholder engagements and through the one webinar that we had on problem identification. There were various areas identified there, but the application of technology in the industry and that competitive edge that it could unleash is quite interesting. And so we're using the case of drone technology to really explore that and experiment in that field. And so we've just announced the showcase. We're looking for partners to partner with us in multiple fields on the showcase. But you've been actively busy with that much more than I have.
Yes, it's so exciting. Under the Innovation Challenge and the drone tech, we're actually having our first webinar introduction in the month of May. And I have myself, not being a techie or too familiar with the drone ecosystem, I have really been overwhelmed by the different applications. And to give a teaser to our listeners, in the webinar next week, we'll hopefully cover quite a few applications in the maritime sector and energy sector, such as security drones, lifesaver drones, even underwater drones and maintenance and inspection applications. So it's quite interesting to learn about this and also think around the future of the port environment, of the applications thereof, the opportunities that it could bring to local businesses, and to connect the dots between all the pockets of research as well on drones. So really excited about that innovation challenge. And also, as part of that, we'll also be engaging the schools in the Saldanha Bay region and also speaking to our core objectives of the Innovation Campus is building that future talent pipeline to make use of 4IR tech. So very, very, very cool.
I think that's a critical component of everything that the Innovation Campus will be focusing on going forward. It is about solving problems that the industry is facing in order for it to be competitive and remain relevant and be inclusive and transformative. And so connecting that to the schools program, the youth is fundamentally important, because to stay relevant, what that means is that your talent, your people that are in the industry need to be supported to stay in the industry, to be inspired. And it goes, for me, it's the same thing. You need to focus on the technology, you need to focus on commercialization of the ideas, as well as curating a program that is focused on the youth who will be the talent of tomorrow.
Indeed. And Kaashifah, to build on that, and both looking backwards and forwards, just the progress that our school program has made and the initiative on the teachers course. We're now reaching almost graduation of the cohort of 20 teachers. And in the next 12 months, I think what I'm looking forward to is the roadmap for the schools program. There's a few initiatives that we have in mind. I won't yet share what that is, but hopefully by the next podcast we are able to. But really starting to see the impact that the Innovation Campus initiatives can have on the school learners and the teachers. So truly excited about that. Maybe a different question. If you think back on our journey thus far, what do you see as the greatest lessons learned from this developmental process?
We started the Innovation Campus from learning from how others have done it before. And so our mindset needs to be of learning, unlearning, and relearning. It makes it more complicated. It makes it longer than what you thought it should be, could be, to get things done and to get to a point But we do need to keep that as a core value, as our core personality of the team involved in the Innovation Campus project and how we engage with others in this effort. And recognizing that things are constantly shifting. But I think also even before the pandemic, things were constantly shifting before. It's just now that we have other things, other factors that we need to also, consider now. That has been a core learning from my perspective, and hand in hand with the way that we've been able to build that network and meet with people, have conversations that weren't even on our list, our stakeholder map before. And they have influenced our ideas and our approaches. And that for me is something that I hold very dear in this project.
I want to say what you've just described really describes the process of innovation. It's about putting yourself out there, actually doing stuff, learning, iterating, listening, and advancing forward. I cannot agree with you more. And to really to summarize what you've spoken to is having that growth mindset, growth approach in everything that we do. And I think that is actually so necessary in the context of South Africa. We're really great at planning and having intent, but often it remains a plan. And what's been very encouraging for myself in the Innovation Campus and very rewarding is that we're now putting this plan into action, and the progress and the success and the joy lies in the execution, and with that, the ability to fail and fail forward. I wrote down here on a note, it's to learn, it's to iterate, and to keep on moving. What a next 12 months that lies ahead. I'm sure that we're going to look back and have another wow moment. So for our listeners today, how can they support the next 12 months of development?
Two simple requests is partner with us and collaborate with us. We always saw this initiative as a necessary component for the industry's success as well as the IDZ success. But we don't have all the resources. We don't have the full holistic mandate to make things happen as we think they should. And even in saying that, maybe what we're thinking is not right. It's not correct. It's not appropriate. So we need to partner with others, role players, influencers, various levels from all sectors of society, business and government and academia, to be able to get to the nub of, so what is it that we can do and should do, and the program that we should advance. So that's really the plea I have for the listeners out there.
I'm going to try and put a tagline to that. I might terribly fail, but let's give it a go. Be curious, come connect, engage, participate, collaborate, and see if there's the opportunity to be a partner of the Innovation Campus. That I think, in a nutshell, is perhaps also a call to action to our listeners. Come find us on social media. Hopefully, come find us soon on our website. Come join us in our webinars and our innovation challenges, and become part of the Innovation Campus community and platform. Without yourselves, we will not be able to move this forward, and the effort will be in the collective. Kaashifah, do you perhaps have any parting or last words for us before we wrap up?
I just really want to thank everyone who has participated, who's logged on to a call, listened to these podcasts, posted a comment on social media, and volunteered to a meeting, taking our calls, our cold calling as well when we started. I really want to thank everyone who's been with us on this journey, for giving of their time, of their insights, of their experience to a corner of the world where this is new and we're experimenting, but it's exciting. And I do appreciate everyone's time towards this journey.
Thank you, Kaashifah. Those are some excellent words. I want to add just one bit and to close us off on this podcast. And it actually, there's a little bit of a story behind it. It came through over the past few months as we're preparing more of a brand identity as part of our website development. One of our founders described the Innovation Campus initiative as follows. The Innovation Campus is about collaboration and sharing. It is to make friends with the world and make friends locally. It is about learning. It is about getting knowledge. It is about creating new technology and generating new ideas, then sharing it with our Saldanha Bay community and investors. In turn, this can unlock prosperity for all. Just a big thank you, echoing what Kaashifah shared. Thank you to all of our listeners tuning into the podcast, for showing up at our engagements, and for asking how much more they can collaborate and help us grow the marine and energy cluster in Saldanha Bay and beyond. If you have any thoughts or questions on this episode or any ideas for future podcasts, please send us an email at innovationcampus@sbidz.co.za. Until next time, let's innovate.